Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Abby, Jordan, and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 40 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Abby, and I am your host. With me, as always, are Logan and Jordan. I just want to make sure everybody did hear that right. This is episode 40.
I'm disappointed in myself because I should have a 40 for episode 40.
Huh. Yeah,
and
what the hell?
I didn't know. Well, I just got fucking home, but I didn't know it was episode 40 until you said it was episode 40, and then I realized I had missed my opportunity.
Well,
cries in YouTube algorithm already.
Can't do it now.
Oh yeah, no. 40 is a lot of liquid of anything, let alone bad malt liquor. You know, like
I think 40 is a high life.
Like bad booze.
Okay.
All right. Logan, you just got home, so we'll start with you. How was your week in Flesh and Blood?
Great, I guess is the best way to put it. My play, I mean, outside of, Blitz or the armories were fine. I played a Blitz armory locally, went 3-1. That's fine. With Ira's fun in Blitz. Then went and drafted in Columbus or Dublin, I guess, technically, beyond the board with a lot of the local listeners of the show. I 3-0'd my pod playing Icelander. I was trying to meme and I did it poorly. I drafted actually a good deck, but I thought that I was probably sunk when I had to fight the two Dromais first because there were 4 Dromais at the table. However, I was able to push through one of my dice rolls. That helps too. And but I will say that every single one of my opponents was very fun to play against and super cool, and it was enjoyable. I played in I wouldn't say played. I showed up for the LCQ for Nats. My primary goal was completely derailed by seeing that it was an on-demand event and not technically an RTN, so I could not go for the Azalea bounty. And then I lost round 1 because Azalea cannot beat Oldhim. That is just true. And then I conceded in round 2 because I had said I was going to scoop to Jordan to hopefully get him a Nats invite. And then we played the game anyway, and 6 red in the ledgers is good enough to beat a Viscerai, turns out. Weird, right? And then yesterday in the Battle Hardened, I switched over to Phi and immediately got paired with a friend of the podcast, friend of the community, Ethan Van Sant, who we played a very back and forth Phi game, but a Phi playing Kodachis is going to normally beat a Phi that is playing Searing Emberblade. I learned that because I did not know that. He also had some really sweet ones in the deck that made me want to just play a lot of the things he was playing. And it was super well built. He built it in the car on the way there. Basically 5 cards I sort of own because he was popping boxes to build the deck since his luggage has been lost in Reykjavik since he flew back with all of his decks in it.
That's still a crazy story.
Yeah, It's nuts. And it's supposed to be back on Wednesday, so hopefully that's the case. Otherwise, I imagine, or I hope that if it doesn't show back up, that I get a panicked message from Ethan Van Sant if he listens to this show saying, I need these cards so I can bring them to Charlotte for him. That's about it. Oh, and then obviously Fab House 2.0 was a rousing success. A lot of games jammed, some team sealed trial, which worked out kind of the way I thought it would. And then we drafted Arcane Rising, and I drafted of the 4 Kano decks at the table, 4 of them I drafted the best Kano deck, at least. However, there was one Dash player at the table. Jordan, who was that Dash player?
That was me. I had got to draft a Blitz deck.
Yeah. So how many AB did you have?
A lot. 2. I had 2. I have 2 or 4. I have 4. I had 4 AB.
4.
Forgive me. Because Dash comes with that handy little built-in item that you get to start with.
How many 0 to 60s did you have?
Well, I'm not exactly sure on the 0. I had 12 zipper hits and 0 to 60s combined. So that's almost half.
How many non-mechanologist cards were in your deck when you were playing against me?
0.
Right. And how many of those cards have boost attached to them to just keep giving you go again?
100%.
30. Well then, Listeners, friends, fappers, to say that I was beaten would presume that I ever stepped in the ring for the fight. I was destroyed from the immediacy of shuffling cards. I was dead, the deadest of dead money. There was no like Riddick Bowe beating Mike Tyson shit happening or anything like that, or Buster Douglas beating Tyson shit happening. It was 100%. I am dead money. I am Glass Joe and dead money. So, Jordan, what did you do besides beating me senseless?
Yeah, no, I had a very similar week in Flesh and Blood, obviously. We were at the same tournament. But after we recorded on Monday, I played a lot of TTS this week, which we'll talk about alternatives to that here in a little bit. Played some TTS online with some friends, went to an armory on Friday that you were there for draft. Went 1 and 2, I think, in the pod. My deck was better than 1 and 2. I'm kind of a monkey. And then Saturday, I played the Last Chance Qualifier, which is, again, annoying because it was just an on-demand event. It's like a ×1 XP multiplier. And that event was weird for a bunch of reasons, but like I went 4 and 2, which I was pretty proud of. I lost to Ethan Van Sant. And then a guy who ended up going undefeated in the tournament later on in the day. And I missed top 8 on breakers. I came in 10th. But I lost round 1 to Ethan, who went X and 1. So I was basically dead after round 1. And that is just like a bigger gripe of Flesh and Blood tiebreakers as a whole. Is that if you lose round 1, your tournament's basically over for one-day tournaments. So anyway, but I had fun. I think I played fairly well for my like experience with the deck and like my preparation level. Ethan is like demonstratively better than me, so I don't take too much hurt in losing to him, and he's also much cooler than me. He is such a good dresser that like he's on wardrobe like F, right? Because like all of his stuff is in a suitcase like in Europe, and like he looks so much nicer than me in every way.
Ethan has built-in drip. And I don't know that he knows that, but he has built-in drip.
Right.
And
like,
I have to work for drip. But he does not.
Yeah, I gave up working for drip. I wear a t-shirt and gym shorts 100% of the time. Up to and including my own wedding. So
you didn't wear it for your entire wedding.
I didn't wear it for the ceremony.
He
very
wore it
quickly
for
after.
The longer portion of the wedding.
Yeah. I would say 95% of the wedding I was in t-shirt and shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. No notes.
Yeah. So that happened. LCQ happened. I was pretty miffed after it, honestly, because of like playing well and only losing to people that were X1 or XO and still missing top 8. So like there are people that had to have lost to people with better or worse records than me, and like still top 8'd.
I feel like opponent match win should be the first tiebreaker, but that's also the Magic person in me talking.
Yeah, and like so 5 of the top 8 didn't have already had invites to Nats, and then like only one match in the top 8 ended up being played because like 2 of the non people got paired, so it was just kind of this weird event. But the actual play was good. All of my opponents were great. I had a great time at that tournament. Like I said, Saturday night we did college football and beers and drafts and games at the FAP 2.0 house, which was great. We got to hang out with like Jeffo and then sit
really
on
cool
stream.
House.
Yeah, it was a very cool house in like a part of town that doesn't have a lot of gyms. So like it was really neat to like be, it's a part of Columbus that we don't go to because there's nothing to do there. So it was cool to like have a thing to do there. And then Sunday played in the main event of the weekend for Flesh and Blood, the Battle Hardened. Went 4 and 2 in that one. Also lost round 1. So I basically knew all day, hey, you're dead for top 8, even if you X1. Which didn't end up mattering anyway, because I lost round 5 to a friend of the show, as well. His name's Todd. He's from the Dayton area. He went X1 after losing round 1 and missed top 8. So, and we talked about it our whole match, because he was kicking the tar out of me as of the Oldham guy, and I was on this ride. It wasn't close to close. But we were talking about how bad it genuinely feels to like lose one round and not make top 8.
I know you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like he won his last round and he goes, yeah, going to stand here out of like for posterity reasons, but I do not have expectations of making top 8.
Yep,
and like, that feels so bad. Like, like, oh, you lost round 1 in a battle hardened. The only reason to keep playing is either like to gain elo or like to qualify, right? And like elo is kind of loose. So like after you lose round 1, you're really there for the love of the game. And like, that's cool and all, but it doesn't make it feel better knowing that like you could rattle off wins against the best players in the tournament and like, it doesn't matter.
It won't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that round 1 should feel as stressful as round, the ultimate round or the penultimate round is crazy to me. But all in all, I had a fantastic weekend. Like, getting to see like people that listen to the show that I don't get to see a lot and chat with them about stuff was cool. Getting to see like Keith from the Realm doing the judge thing, and like guys like Light Mommy, Enthusiast who in our Discord doing the judge thing was fantastic. This was one of those events that even though it was like smaller numbers wise had that fab community feel where people come in from around the region and you get to just like see and experience time with, and that's nice. Looking forward to nationals as a result of that. This is actually a good week for Abby's Flesh and Blood week.
Is it?
Well, you were around at least.
So
Salesman of the Year, everybody.
Yep, right there.
Wow.
Yeah, so Friday night I played in the Armory with everyone. Drafted 5, went 1 and 2. Jordan, what was the result of our match?
I don't remember.
Yeah, okay. I beat Jordan. And then Saturday I went down to the venue and just hung out all day. They were doing a sealed at noon that I didn't think was going to fire. And then at that point I decided I wanted lunch instead. So I wasn't a part of it. But just got to hang out, see everyone. Then obviously we went back to the house. I drafted Azalea. I was one of the 3. I hate drafted a Viscerai card. I can't remember which
Dark Knight Ascendancy.
Oh yeah. There were no Viscerai.
0. There were the composition of the draft was 4 Kanos, 3 Azalea, and 1 Dash. No one drafted Viscerai.
She like 12th pick. It was like a 12th pick, right? Abby was like the wheel on that pack, right?
Yeah, it was super late.
It was late pack 2. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to take this because none of the other cards were anything that I wanted. So I was like, well, I'll just keep somebody else from taking it.
You did also open a skull cap.
I did open a skull cap.
You had a good week. There was a good weekend. There was a good day for opens in that house.
Yeah, because we there's
a cold foil Blood of the Drakai.
Yeah, Sin opened the Blood of the Drakai, and then in a history pack,
Jeff opened it.
Was it Jeff? Okay.
He was super excited. So I want to make sure that he gets his props there.
Sorry, Jeffo. And then I got what else did I get?
A Marvel Dragon.
Oh yeah,
you opened a Marvel Dragon.
In my history pack, I got an Art of War and a Tectonic Plate, and then we opened a Marvel Dragon when I was finishing the
box had the cold foil blood in it.
Honest to God, opened, probably 75 packs this weekend. It wasn't enough, but I loved every second of it. It was great.
We flip and ripped about half of a history pack box.
We did.
And we managed to miss the Art of War of the Legendary.
Knowing that there's a Lego there.
Whatever.
Yeah, knowing that there's about $100 of cards that we could have ripped is everything I want out of that game. That is why we play
the game.
All right.
We play to win the game, and a game that has 0 EV attached to it, negative EV, purely negative EV attached to the game. Flip it and rip it.
Hey, but give me $100, Logan. I'm gonna rip that shit in half.
Right? No, I'm going to rip 50 of it in half. It's like, wait, what? But yes, it's and it was great to see everybody. Fap House 2.0, shout out to everybody that was there. Jacob from the Realm, Keith from the Realm, Jacob 2.0. I don't actually know his screen name if he has one. Light Mommy Enthusiast, May, Sin, Jeffo. Who am I missing? Oh, Mitch. Poor Mitch. Oh, Mitch. Oh, buddy. Mitch
had the best time.
He got the award for most intoxicated, which is an important award. I've won it on many a golf course. So, and many on everything, honestly, if I stop and think about it. But, and then shouts out to Ethan Van Zandt for being the fat killer because he murdered both of us.
He murdered
And-
so many Columbus guys.
Yeah.
Our Columbus team Discord was full of like, lost to Van Sant, lost to Van Sant, lost to Van Sant.
Blood on his hands all over
I
the
think we
place.
were 0-X against Van Sant this weekend as like
a lot
as
of
a
people,
region.
a lot of people were 0-X against Ethan this weekend, so I think
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, so I just want to thank everybody for making it such a good time in Columbus. I genuinely don't know that I can have a bad time there. I with the crew that's there and who comes out to see us and hang out and be part of the community. And I'll never get used to the people that I'm walking past. I'm talking to somebody else. They turn and go, "Oh, hey, Logan," and I'm like, "Hi, I don't know who you are." And they just recognize my voice, I guess, and I just have to stop and be like, "Excuse me, are you in our Discord? Can I find you there?" Like, "Oh no, I'm just a big fan of the show." Thank you. And yes, keep coming up to me like that. I'll never get used to it, but it's still such a cool experience. And if you do recognize us, you see us out, please come say hi. I mean, it's just, it means the world to me, at least. I don't know if you two feel the same way, but for me, it's kind of just dope.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
good. No, please.
I don't get recognized for my voice because I don't talk very much, so I don't know anything about that. I think it's happened to me one time, and I think Jordan was next to me, so that's probably why.
No, I definitely appreciate it. I am the worst at remembering in the context in which I've met people. So I feel really bad because there's people that I know that I've met before. After the interaction, I go, "I just said nice to meet you" to that guy, and I've met him like 6 times, and I feel really bad about it each time. But just because of the way like my brain works, like I would forget that I was married to Abby if she didn't wake up at my house every day.
You still call
You know,
her
like-
Davis on a regular basis.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have this
yes.
weird thing with calling like women that I know by their maiden names. I don't know why. Like the name that I meet you as is like, again, you're asking me to change this thing that was hard for me to learn. Please, I'm a cishet white man. The world is built against me.
Oh
Okay.
To
my
be
god!
fair,
Holy
um,
fuck!
Jordan
Like-
didn't want me to change my name, so
Well, 40
I did not.
episodes
It's
was a good.
it's not
It was a good
bad
run.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Please pity
Okay.
the affluent white guys out there. You know,
Yeah,
All right,
like I said, 40
so-
episodes is a great run. Thanks, folks, for listening.
Yes.
But we're about to be canceled because Jordan won't shut the fuck up.
But
Yes.
for real, it was really nice to meet people. I enjoy it. I look forward to doing more of it at nationals, and I do look forward to doing it at the.
I'm just
at the-
waiting for
the
Abby to
brawl.
push the hand button.
Yes, we love it. I was disappointed that I wasn't there Sunday. I know there were a couple people that asked about me being there. I had a prior engagement that I had to go to, but we do love it. Please come say hi. You can find me with one of those two, most likely, around the hall. Since
It's true.
I'm certainly not yelling at anybody while I'm there. So, okay, enough of that. Let's move into the show. Good Lord. Okay, so the Battle Hardened on Sunday, top 8 breakdown. We had 3 Oldham, 2 Dramai, 2 Icelander, and a dash.
This format's sick.
Yeah, a lot of people are taking this as a, Prism's gone. Their Guardians are going to run a roughshod, and I'm like, I understand that narrative and I appreciate that narrative, but there's 2 things positive about that narrative. If the Guardians run roughshod, they get to leave. They go to Living Legend Land. They go out to the fucking Glue Factory, and that's all I want. I want them gone. They're not fun for me. How also though, these are week to week to week to week results. And we're seeing the game keep shifting and shifting and shifting, and that's healthy. Shifts are healthy. So if you start seeing the same makeup as there's always a 3 Oldham in every top 8, now we have a problem. 3 Oldham in random battle hardened top 8 in Columbus, Ohio is not the sky is falling, for fuck's sake. Nothing needs banned, nothing needs done right now. Just hang out, things will be fine. And props to Icelander and Dromai for showing up. Like, good to see you. Welcome to the lounge.
Yeah, no, I think this format, if this is emblematic of, I think we as players, so let me start there. I think we as players are very reactionary. After the Pro Tour, it was, yikes, it's going to be Rune Blade Fall. And if you take a quick look at this top 8, there are 0 Rune Blades in there, much to my dismay. But, I would love to have been one, But, I think we are very reactionary to the most recent official tournament result, and this is a case of that. I've seen a lot of people saying the things that you've echoed, Logan, and just it'll be fine, babe. I promise. Like this too shall pass. And I understand for a lot of people, Fab is actually their first game. And so
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is literally their first. Yeah. This is literally their first rodeo. So like, and as a man who this is not his first rodeo, the meta we saw out of Lille was slightly different than the one we expected coming into Lille, and now the meta we've seen in Battlehard and Columbus is different than the one we expected after Lille, and I bet you what we see at US Nats will be different than what you expect, and then same thing with the Pro Tour, or for Worlds, excuse me, because like when good players are tested, they don't do the conventional thing. You don't want to Pro Tour by copying the best deck list from the most recent tournament and playing it very well. There is innovation the whole process. So basically, you're going to be fine. The deck you like is probably going to be fine. And you can find a niche for yourself in this meta because Fab is actually like a super diverse game. And I'm excited for it. This is great. This is great.
Yep. Agree.
Yep. Samesies. We touched on it last week, but the official BS announcement is out. Of course, it came out right after we recorded, but it's fine. Classic Constructed, we already knew. Prism is gone. Say goodbye.
Bye, Priz.
Jordan was very clear that there were no other announcements. So let me go into the 4 Blitz ones that are on here. Stir the Aetherwind is moved to banned. Snapback is moved to banned. Crown of Seeds is still suspended until Oldham hits Living Legend. And Sonata is suspended until the next announcement. So I
don't play enough Blitz right now to know about the Wizard cards, but I have to imagine that those are good changes.
Well, they were suspended because they were already not
around, right? So yeah, like this seems like one of those instances of they probably just like didn't know what the suspended list was yet when they originally made the suspended list, and then they were like, okay, what world do we unsuspend these? Never. Okay, never. Put them off.
It's the old adage of what's the fail case and what's the what are our outcomes? We unban it. So outcome 1, we unban it. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't shift the meta at all. It doesn't increase the deck's viability. So why did we unban it or unsuspend it? Or we unsuspend it and it makes it the most busted deck in the format. Why did we unsuspend it? Those are your 2 cases, don't unsuspend it.
Yeah, just ban it.
Ban it.
Yep. Like so I guess the third case that an interlocutor might say is it could just be a value add to a deck, but that's not how a Wizard works, right?
No.
There is no medium world where like so if someone goes, well, the third case where it just is a good deck card in the deck, that's not how Wizard works. Like cards like single cards can break a deck like that, because it is like sort of a combo deck in the context of Flesh and Blood. So step back is pretty interesting because getting to just do an extra 3 arcane is pretty for as an instant is pretty gas. So Crown being suspended is probably just good because of that. It might slow down the rate at which Oldham achieves Living Legend status, which might be a net negative in Blitz, depending on your seat. But
yeah, I mean it's the best. It's probably the best Blitz deck, but I think with the rise of some of the other decks you've seen, like Icelander is also an incredible Blitz deck. Fi is kind of an underwhelming Blitz deck, honestly. It's probably it's still Ira if you want to play Ninja, but the other decks that have held down the fort are still good. Like it's not Fi. Kasai is still good. Dorinthia is good, although in my mind it's still not quite Kasai good, but it's still very good. Reinhardt can still just fucking kill you. So there's still a lot going on. Dash is still a good Blitz deck. So there's still tons of room in there to do stuff in Blitz and making sure that the format stays kind of level. We don't want necessarily a bunch of characters to hit Living Legend quickly in Blitz because there are just more characters in Blitz than Classic Constructed. So we don't really, it's not like Classic Constructed where it's like for the health of the game necessarily. It's but it's weird to me that Blitz does not have that kind of level of optimization. I guess it's not that weird. People don't really test for it the way they do for CC. So the optimization of those decks is usually less. But at the same time, Oldham's a very good deck and will be gone eventually. It would be gone already if it wasn't for... What's that?
He is currently at 452 Living Legends.
Yeah, he'll be good. He'll be gone real fast.
He's gone skirmish season then, right? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Interestingly, do you think that Worlds gives Living Legend points to the Blitz hero? I don't think so. My guess is going to be no. But Worlds currently gives 300 points to the hero that wins, and I don't know how they're going to do that with it being a split format. My guess is no, but
That's interesting, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I kind of think it should.
You think it should give 600 total or 150 or?
I think it should give 300 and 150.
Oh, is that a different table?
Yeah.
Oh, they gave them at the same rate, I think. Yeah, there's no separate points accumulation for Blitz.
But Blitz only takes 500 versus 1,000.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then again, Skirmish is on here as 2. And, like, I guess at no other point do they distinguish the difference between Blitz and
CC, yeah.
CC on the Gaining Living Legends points table.
They probably should.
Maybe, yeah, because like, so there have been Blitz Battle Hardens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those have all given 30, as have
Blitz
the
colleagues.
CC ones. Yeah, and those have all given 100, as have the CC ones. So maybe they should, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I assume someone has thought of this, right? Like, but
have they? Know. Because Blitz was originally not meant to be a competitive format per that 25-year-old document, 25-year, Jesus.
How'd you know about that? James and I kept that secret back then.
Yeah.
You motherfucker. You're in Reagan-era politics. And okay, never mind. I guess that was 1997. Jesus. Oh, my God. I'm old.
Yeah, but if 25 years ago was Reagan to you, like...
Yeah,
I'll edit this part out and save you.
No, don't. Just let me hang. You were gonna do it anyway. You'll edit out your comments about the oppression of the CSAT white male, but you will
already set a timestamp for it, bud.
You dick. But the yes, so I think that they should just. I think Blitz should get LL points out of Worlds. I just don't think it should be the same rate as CC because they're not on the same points table for a character living legending out.
Sure. That I just I'll be curious to see how they handle that. There was like the team formats we see no points given out, and that also feels like sort of weird. Like it feels weird in one way and bad and good in another because like sometimes you have a hero on your team that's bad and gets carried, but like at the same time like
33
to a victory. Yeah. So I don't know. Interesting anyway.
We also got some new information about Dynasty. So Dynasty release date is November 11th. Mark your calendars. And then some key dates. Card preview season will start November 1st. Jordan, I'm sorry. And then release date is obviously the 11th. Breakdown is the set will have 247 cards. 1 Fable, 5 Legendary, 51 Majestic, 81 Rare, 109 Common, and 14 Marvels. 10 cards per pack, 24 per display, 4 displays per case. Has cold foils, and it'll be paper packs.
So
paper packs.
Yeah, 1 paper packs is gas. Even though Jordan opens them like a fucking monster, they're still amazing. One of the things that I saw pointed out, and this is interesting to me, is that the number of legendaries and majestics has gone up with every single supplemental release.
Yeah.
Yes.
From Everfest, from Crew to Everfest to now to Dynasty. And what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know. The number of cards in this set is up as well from Everfest and Crucible.
Yes.
As is the corresponding cost of like the product. Like it's $109 as opposed to $99 that was Everfest, which, hey, the world isn't on fire. Like the cost of your hobby game at $10 a pack, at $10 a box isn't that like
your
right?
luxury product. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like I always say that is probably a reasonable increase given everything. But that aside, like more money for more cards, but harder to get some of the cards that you want. Like the value of buying a box plummets, right? Because it's always cheaper to buy singles anyway, and then now the cards you want are more chase, so it's probably, I mean, You're shaking your head, but I can't imagine a world telling people to buy more lottery tickets.
I'm doing it. I learned this when I was in India. It was that's how that when they're thinking of an agreement.
Interesting. They like kind of shake their head back and forth.
Yep,
Gotcha.
And so I think I largely agree with what you're saying. I don't know that the value of buying boxes is going to be tied more to the value add to popular or cult popular, thank you, Azalea, heroes and in the common and rare slots, right? So while the box EV is certainly going to go down due to, the increased number of cards, and then into, there's going to be some things in the legendary majestic slot that just aren't worth opening. And it is always cheaper to buy singles. That is 100% true if you're trying to collect everything. Maybe opening a box will get you the commons and uncommons you need. So the value to you as a player to have those at the quickest possible point is high enough. So I think there's a dependency on how playable those things are and how much the value add is. If it's like Everfest where there's a lot of carnival-y shit, although some of that carnival-y shit is super playable. Turns out this round on me is kind of broken. It's still going to be very, very dependent on that. And people are just always going to change. Like, the Marvel idea is brilliant goddamn marketing.
Yes, it really is.
Everybody loves it. Everybody shouts when they open one. It's a chase thing. And so I really feel like they're crushing it on that marketing aspect. And you're right. I mean, the cost, so 109 instead of 99. So your map price goes up a little bit, basically to 90 a box. For map pricing. So you're looking at 360 a case ish. That's not the worst.
No.
And the LGSs for the overwhelmingly large part have learned that fab is not something you just overcharge for, and if you don't overcharge for it, people buy it. I know our LGSs, they just run out constantly. They order and then it's gone. So it's and I know that we have a very healthy community compared to a lot of other places here in Des Moines. Props to the Des Moines community. I always like to give that crew a shout out, because holy shit, are they good at what they do. And they show up, which is great, and they're fun as hell. But and I know that some other communities are also blossoming, very quickly. So that's just going to keep happening. And I think the interesting part right now is when does the fab singles market explode, and what does it mean? I have seen a lot of people this weekend, because MinMax was there selling singles, and people were going to the MinMax booth and spec buying rares, as in buying their entire complement of things. And I'm just like, okay, interesting. That means you're taking an opportunity that's normally not presented in person and using it to leverage what you think will be a position down the road. Fascinating. And that's just my card finance brain turning on. But
sure,
I just hadn't seen that yet, especially at the rare level. I was like,
yeah, that is unique. That is definitely unique. We don't see it because those cards are sub $1, like
almost all of them. Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I say that I'm going to buy a lot of this.
Yep.
Like,
can't wait.
Don't hear me wrong. Yeah. My wife is a fucking crackhead for packs.
She is.
I love it.
She literally just cracked Keith's cases because she wanted to. Keith, who also doesn't care about value, was just like, yeah, go ahead and just open booster packs.
Yeah. And so, that my stated goal with every set is to be set complete by release weekend.
Right.
End of release weekend. So obviously I'm going to be degenning packs. Like, that's just what I do.
Right. It's part of our enjoyment of it, right? So, I guess that is a part of the value that I didn't talk about, is that, we, in particular, also derive value from just ripping packs, because ripping packs is fun. So here in Columbus, there are, opening parties. People go to, the LGS and they open their packs and stuff and, organize their collections together. Abby and I skip those because it's a thing we do together. And, that part is, we sit and we put on some shitty Disney movie and, I say shitty, but, just any generic one. It doesn't have to, it's just on in the background. But yeah.
One thing before, because I see Abby's hand, before we move on, is, what I fucking hate about these supplemental sets?
Can't draft them.
Two things. One, can't draft them. Two, it takes a lot of space to sort these bitches because they have every fucking class in them.
Yeah.
So I'm spread everywhere. Like
Yeah.
okay. I'm not going to give that analogy on our podcast because you won't edit it out.
Not.
Anybody that follows me on Twitter, I'll put that one out there. Because I don't believe in Twitter circles, I'm going to remain unhinged on main.
I was not trying to move us along. I just wanted to make sure that everyone aware that Jordan says that Jordan and I open packs together.
Christ.
I only open packs when Jordan is there. Jordan does not play by that and does whatever he thinks is fine. So just wanted
point of information. That's actually untrue. Jordan was not around when we were playing Flip It and Rip It almost that entire time we were playing Flip It and Rip It.
Excuse me?
No, Jordan was there almost every time we did
sure
it.
Wasn't. He was playing.
The only time
he was overplaying.
First off.
Sweet validation.
Okay, anybody
I'm an impartial party here.
I'm done. Okay, bye.
No. I'm an impartial party here. And you can say that, well, you're right. It's something that Jordan and I share together, but you and I were sharing something together too, and it was nice.
Get fucked. Wow.
Boy, you guys are really going to fall apart when I'm not around anymore.
She's not wrong, but
still. True. Let's get it on the show.
Right.
Here.
Let's move on.
So, Flesh and Blood Online. That's a new thing. I don't know anything about it, so I'll let you guys talk about it.
Yeah, so I just added this because I realized that we hadn't talked about it since it became like a thing.
A bigger thing, yeah.
Yeah. It's been a product for a while. For people that don't know, it is a fully rules automated platform for you to play Flesh and Blood on. In your web browser. I see you opening the beer. Do it away from your microphone, you monster. You have such a loud gate right now. Yeah, thank you. You're the best. It's a two-beer show. He did that from like 13 miles away, and like it was still a nice volume. So imagine how that would have been if I didn't say it.
This is a grape sour that literally tastes like grape high C.
So I'm not a big beer guy, but like that sounds great to me. So
it's called Great Grape.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
great.
I will bring some to you.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Fab Online or fleshandbloodonline.com is like I said, a fully automated rules platform. It has a lobby and a matchmaking system. As I'm looking at it right now, there are 42 games in progress, and you can just go and spectate them, and you can play on them. And it's very point and click interface. You click the card you want to cast, click the card you want to pitch, and it does the rules for you. So a lot of people might be familiar with TTS, which has no rules automation. It's you have to know how to work TTS and know how to manipulate the cards to play the game. And if you don't know how to play Fab, TTS is of no use to you. Flesh and Blood Online, however, is a fan-made project that very much does everything, and you could theoretically teach someone how to play on. They collect stats, they collect data. It is an online platform, and it has gotten very big. Their Patreon is blown up. They've gotten a lot of attention from a lot of high-profile content creators and players. It is Fab Online. It is Flesh and Blood Online. One of the points of controversy that I've brought to the group to talk about is that LSS's mission statement is to bring players together in the flesh and blood through the common language of playing great games. And so an online client does clash with that goal. TTS always has. So I want to say that at the front of this, that like I recognize that this has always existed in some form or fashion. The barrier to entry for Flesh and Blood Online is dramatically lower because of the public matchmaking lobby, because of it's free. You do it in your web browser. It's so much easier to learn. So there's this drama of, is this good? And what do we think about it?
So quick delineation, because I think that this is actually an important point, is while you are correct that TTS, is not in the flesh and blood, it still requires an amount of social interaction with your opponent to convey messaging where Fab Online does not.
Very fair.
So
very fair.
At least there's still some sort of connectivity to it on a human element and not just the very mechanical aspect of a game happening. Now for Fab Online, I see both sides of the value to it. I see it as a way for players to get more games in easier to test whatever they want to test. And that is good for competitive players optimizing decks. But they collect data and they publish stats. And because they collect data and publish stats, you kind of wander into a territory where things can get solved sort of in a very unnatural way in an ecosystem that is not meant, this game's not meant to be solved that way. And I think that can have a negative impact in creating stale formats faster. So I'm interested to see how that all shakes out. Now, it's very possible, and I've been wrong numerous times about the depth of Flesh and Blood. When I first started, I thought the game was not at all deep and was going to run into design space issues very fast. Okay, I'm wrong. Then I thought, okay, well, it may not run into design space issues. It's going to run into availability and access issues because they're going to have to keep printing new heroes and printing things directly for those heroes. So it's going to turn into, sort of an arms race type of situation. Totally wrong. In this case, I'm not going to say that I'm certain about anything because I don't feel like being wrong again. It's not something I enjoy. However, I do think we run into a problem as soon as we have fast optimization and statistical analysis by a program over the course of the rule of large numbers to make those things actionable. And it takes away from one of the cool elements of the game being it's not easy to solve.
I don't disagree with any of that. I think that you also presented like both of the things, the pros and cons well. I think, then like I say, like, hey, like this is a good way to teach someone how to play Flesh and Blood theoretically. It's really not. Like it's not actually better to teach someone with this as opposed to Flesh and Blood. So that's one pro out the window that I think I said after listening to you talk. Yeah, I think for what this game wants to be and what it strived to be, even in the midst of a worldwide pandemic that made its mission statement very difficult, it survived. The more interesting question now, I think, becomes what does LSS do about it? I don't want to I've done some legal deep dives into this as more of like a professional hobby over the past couple of days. I really don't want to get into that too much. I think that's more of a Discord conversation, like in our Discord or whatever that I can get into if people want me to. But, and also with the full caveat that I'm a very risk adverse guy. So it's interesting where this goes from here. If it becomes too big, like does the size matter for LSS? If they start holding like it doesn't from what I've been told. If if they start
LSS
holding cash,
squeeze.
Yeah, hey, right. If the Flesh and Blood Online starts having cash tournaments, if it starts becoming, hey, we're gonna hold a series on here. If the Realm wanted to switch its series to the Flesh and Blood Online, what does that mean? Right? Like, what does that, by the way, that was just like a hypothetical. That's not actually the case, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if these big tournaments started happening on Flesh and Blood Online, does that impact it? I don't know. There's a lot of development here to do. I will probably play on it. All of the thing. Yeah, agreeing with you that it's probably a net negative in a sense. I will probably play on it because it's one of those adapt or die old man type of things. Like it's very easy to find games on a time that's convenient for me. Anybody that follows me on Twitter knows I'm regularly asking for people to test with me at 6 a.m. because like I like to do things with Abby in the evening, with the rest of my family in the evening, and like it's tough to test with that kind of schedule, right? So now I can get up at 6 and just go sit and play Flesh and Blood Online against New Zealanders, and like that's probably good for me. So I'll use it, but is it good? Ugh, I don't know. Ab, you didn't know anything about this coming into it. I don't feel like we've given you the most impartial overage. I tried to at the top, but where are you at on hearing this, and like how do you think it impacts it? Because as like a more of like a fan of the game, as like a curator of the game and community, where do you feel about that?
So I don't think I'll ever use it, but I definitely can see like the benefits and the negatives. One of the big things is we are lucky to live close to a local game store, so we don't have like an issue with that. But for people that don't, I mean, this is the only opportunity that they're going to have. So I think having the space is good. What happens as it grows, we will see.
Yeah, I think there's only like really one guarantee in all of this, though. The more I think about it, and that's that Fab Online is never going to be a sponsor of this show.
That's probably fair.
Probably not. And they're missing out.
They are. They have great listeners. They may
That's right.
kick them $1 or $2 on Patreon if they kicked us $1 or $2.
Maybe. All right. Are you guys ready to talk about it?
I'm always ready to talk about it.
Oh,
Always ready to
It's
talk about
just
it.
the best. Okay. Before I go into it, we'll start with this. As a reminder, if you would like to enter our giveaway for a VIP pass to the speakeasy party at the Brawl weekend, it's a video submission. You can submit it on Twitter or Discord, or you can email us. I think literally any way we're accepting. We haven't gotten very many. So there's your
There's not.
chance. There's your chance to win a free speakeasy VIP ticket. Nobody else will get one.
It's a $250 value.
Right. Nobody else will win one.
It's a
People might buy
$250
one.
value. That's crazy.
You get to party with us. Oh wait, is that a good thing?
No.
They will think so at the time, but later regret it.
Right.
Oh, the
I'm
Mitch
almost certain.
principle. Got it. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
the Mitch rule.
The Mitch rule. Yep.
Yes.
Oh boy, that poor child. Or the Carolina rule. I guess it could also be called.
Yeah.
She recovered from that concussion very quickly.
I was going to say, I think she was fine aside from the concussion.
Well,
Anyway, Brawl
like-
Weekend is October 22nd and 23rd. It is slowly approaching on us, folks. So please be there.
you're
and
going
I
to
will
want to be there.
Yeah, you will, and I will be there. I think we'll probably be doing something on Friday, right? I think there's an armory that we're planning.
Yeah, I think there's
Yes.
a super armory, a full armory kit.
A full
I believe.
a full kit being given away at the Friday Night Armory. One night, one armory, a whole month's kit getting given out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the plan. It's going to be fun. Everybody that's in from out of town will be doing that. The one thing I've noticed about Flesh and Blood people, and this is different than like how I am, like when people are together that like playing Flesh and Blood, they play a lot of Flesh and Blood. I'm very much
Fuckload.
hey, we can just like not do the thing we're here for and like hang
Right.
out instead. But people
Just like
fucking
vibe.
love playing Flesh and Blood. So like we're gonna do a lot of Flesh and Blood over the weekend. Main event Saturday, Sunday's the team sealed, and day 2 of the Brawl. You're gonna want to be there. There's so much stuff that's happening that we can't share like today, but like announcement of announcement, you know? Like,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
loves
Let me-
those. Yeah, everybody loves.
Listen,
Everybody loves
If
that.
I remember right, Mara and I are doing a thing that whenever I pop one of her dragons, that she has to do a shot.
That's
I'm
great.
pretty sure she has not consented to that, but it's going to happen anyway.
Listen, this is the most telling thing that I'm going to say, and it should mean everything to you. I took off work the Friday before, and I
What?
never take off work. So it's a big deal, and you need to be there.
It's Labor Day, and she worked today.
I did.
yeah,
I
exactly.
did. I did not celebrate the day of labor. Yay.
Huh?
Yeah,
Huh.
shocker. And the odds makers take a beat.
Yeah.
They take a beating again.
But
Yep.
I took off the Friday before the Brawl, so be there or be square. I'm not going to make the square this week. It took too
Yeah,
long last week.
I'm not doing that. Nope. I also just realized that I think that the 11th is Veterans Day in the U.S., so I just randomly have the day
Don't
off.
worry.
The
I'll
day
be
off
working.
anyway of for just bust packs of Dynasty. Starting at like 11 a.m. Get set complete on day 1.
So breakdown of the Brawl weekend. Saturday is day 1 of the 10K. Cosplay contest, side events. There'll be on-demand drafts. Win a VIP blitz and win a VIP ultimate pit fight. And then the speakeasy party Saturday night. Sunday, day 2 of the Brawl and the team sealed event. So
We'll probably be having a hangover breakfast as well on a Sunday morning before all the events. Or at least I will, because I'm going to probably be very hungover.
What?
Just
Cool,
just
guys.
What?
just an announcement of it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and accept my fate and just say, yeah, it's probably a guarantee.
So, sign up, Be there. Submit your video for the entry to the VIP. We need to set a date for cutoff.
September 20.
They're due to Keith that day.
That's
so.
Oh, so it has to be before then.
The 24th, September 24th. It's a Saturday.
Yep, September 24th.
So that's Nat's weekend. I'd say 25th or 26th.
Oh, because we won't record on Sunday. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, September 25th. No more changes. Have your video in if you want to win.
Cool.
Simple as that. Enough said. Fuck them. Oh, wait.
Was that too aggressive?
I got more aggressive.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Sorry,
Well,
guys.
I would like to move on.
Okay. We have 3 listener questions this
week.
week.
We're stuck in a loop.
Listen. 3 listener questions. First one is from Dragon Mommy Enthusiast. Which hero would play each character in Rocky Horror Picture Show? I just want to start. I am of no help. I have seen it once.
I don't know what this is.
Oh,
I'm looking at the picture and I don't know.
I sent you a video.
I don't know if I watched it. I clearly did not, apparently. I thought this was the thing of I got it confused with the thing where the aliens watch really bad sci-fi movies.
That is Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes.
I
got them confused. I was really confused when I just Googled Rocky Horror Picture Show and saw what I saw. So, but I haven't seen either of those.
So, premise of Rocky Horror Picture Show to a couple who is traveling and their car breaks down in the rain. They go to this creepy mansion, which is having this insane party hosted by a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania named Dr. Frank Enfurter. It then just goes off the rails from there. Though that's the on the rails part of that movie. So, played by Tim Curry, and Tim Curry's legs in fishnets are unimpeachable, by the by. So we're going to say that Frank Enfurter is going to be played by Chain. We're going to go ahead and give Riff Raff, who is the butler, to Viscerai.
Okay.
Viscerai is Chain's butler. Rocky, who is the creature that Frank Enfurter has created as a sex slave, is going to be played by, I'm going to give this one to Bravo.
Is this the balding person with the long blonde hair?
That is Riff Raff.
That's who you're talking about right now?
No, I'm talking about Rocky.
Oh, okay.
Very cut, very built, giant, pretty much giant dude that's real dumb. So we're going to make that Bravo.
All right.
Columbia will be played by Dash. Columbia has short red hair, kind of a squeaky voice, and is in love with the motorcycle riding wild man named Eddie, who is played in the movie by none other than Meatloaf. And that will be played by Reinar. There's nobody more Meatloafy than Reinar. And then we have Magenta, who is Riff Raff's alien sister and maid of the house. This is actually kind of a tougher one because there's not really a super magenta-y character in Flesh and Blood, so this one has taken me a minute. And I think that Wilded Out Icelander, adult Icelander, is going to be the choice there. I was thinking Lexi, but I'm not sure. I also thought about Briar for Columbia, but I think Dash wins that one. Then for Brad and Janet, Brad is a very staid, buttoned-up individual, and played by Brian. Shit, that's not his name.
Barry Bostwick.
Barry Bostwick. Thank you. He was in Spin City, if you remember that show, and his girlfriend Janet is played by Susan Sarandon. So. For Brad, we need a very buttoned up and staid sort of prim and proper person character. So we're going to, I have a hard time with this one. Can you think of anybody that's sort of a square character in Flesh and Blood?
Dorinthia?
Needs to be a dude unless we gender swap.
Oh, okay.
Bolton Bolton can be Brad.
Okay. Yeah.
And Janet is a sexually repressed college student that wants nothing more than to bang, but is trying to save herself from marriage. I'm going to just give the role to Lexi, although we know that Lexi already fucks.
What about Dorinthia?
So I think I don't think Dorinthia is very restrained.
Gotcha.
I think Dorinthia is restrained, but doesn't have the wild side to Dorinthia. Maybe to like Kasai. Kasai might be a good option for her.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that's where I'm going to go with my Rocky Horror casting. And then the professor is going to be just Lord Sutcliffe. But so yeah, that's where I'm going with my Rocky Horror casting. So Dragon Mommy enthusiast, who is a Tim Curry lookalike. There you go. Although I need to see him in fishnets to confirm.
I will have to watch this. This is apparently a cult classic.
Yes, it is the cult classic.
It is. I've seen it once because
this and Mystery Science Theater are on my list. I feel like I would really like Mystery Science Theater.
Okay,
go watch the Manos episode of MST3K. You will not be disappointed.
Okay.
Question number 2 is from Teague. Jordan and I have had a lot of discussion about what we think is important to do as a community leader to grow local group. What do you feel are some important things to keep in mind as a community member? Obviously, not everybody can be the leader, and many do not have the time or interest in being so. What tips would you have for those who are important members of the community that would still like to foster a good environment and help it grow?
Yeah, so one of the things Teague and I talk about a lot, and like what obligation do like the rank and file players have at your LGS, like the ones that you would go, hey, they're not here yet, let me text them to see if they're coming. We talk a lot about those guys as obligations. He's asking a different question, which I find interesting because we haven't talked a ton about yet, or haven't talked as much about. We talk about a lot, Teague and I, about community in general. But so with the leaders and what they do to foster a good environment and help it grow, man. And it's funny because Teague is not going to like my answer. I think he does it very well. He's not going to like the compliment that he can't respond to.
Well, fuck him.
Yeah, welcome. You do a good job. Yeah. He does this very well in that has a little bit of something for everybody in there. He rotates events. There is like a CC event, and then it flips over to a draft or a sealed, into a commoner, into a blitz, into a CC again. So there's a path forward. He does a very good job at having a People's Champion playmat, which is like a drawing for everybody at the end of the month where you get entries based on how many times you've came to Armory. So your involvement in the community you do get rewarded for that, right? Things like that are really good examples. And just trying to develop something that's good for your competitive players, because those are the backbone, right? Those are going to be there every week. Those are going to spend the money on your entry fees and make it worthwhile for the store to like have product. And then your casual players are going to be the ones that hopefully become those regular rank and file players. And they're only going to stay if they have a good experience at the very beginning. So Teague was one of the first people that I ever met when I started playing Flesh and Blood, actually. I went and signed up for an Armory, and he goes, okay, the code for the app is over there on the TV. And I was like, what code, what app, what are you talking about? Right? And Teague was the guy that walked me through, like, oh, you're going to go to your fabtcg.com profile, you're going to like put in the code on this page, and I'll show you. And he helped me like manipulate my phone to get to that thing. And that's how I learned about profile page and how to join an event. And so like that kind of stuff is also very important, just the literal like mechanics of things that you take for granted. I think LGSs can be very comic book shop nerd guy from Simpsons. You Simpsons weirdos will love that, like the comic book shop manager man.
Worst comment ever.
Yeah, so like that guy is the stereotype of LGSs, and unfortunately for a good reason, right? So like having these guys that break that trend and go, oh yeah, here, let me show you, let me help you, it's okay to be new to this thing. I think that's important too. Yeah. And working that into your culture is like really important. I think, again, to Teague's chagrin, I do think he does a good job of that, and I'm glad he asked the question because he's like a perfect person to like bring this issue up.
I think it's two things, and when I think about it, it's setting the example and inclusivity. I know in our group, everybody in our local environment that's a regular specifically is hyper invested in growth. mainly because they just like to see it. They like to have our armories don't ever not fire, right? But having more players equals, more fun games. One of our locals, Chuck, who's the Pendants Quarter on occasion, the podcast at the end of a podcast, he made the comment, I think it was last week, where he's like, remember when it was just round robin, we play the same people over and over again, every week. And there are people that come to Armory now that I've never played because we've just never been paired. And that's just so different. And he's right. Like, there are people that show up to Armory that that on a regular basis that I've never played against. Because just we've never been paired in the event. It's like, that's wild to me. And a lot of that has been how invested and how willing to help grow the community the people that do show up on a regular basis are. Like, even we had 2 players that at our last Armory on Thursday the last Armory, I guess, locally was Saturday, but I wasn't there. The last one I was at on Thursday that showed up, paid an entry fee, and we're like, all right, I've got a blitz deck. Let's play. I want to play. Okay. So here's the code, same as you're talking about. And they're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's like, that's valid. And I was like, okay. So I start to, because I'm running the tournament, I start to do a thing. And then, Griddle Master, Taylor, was like, no, I'll take care of it. And then he walked them through setting up their gem profile. So I could just go and keep doing the admin stuff for the tournament so we could start close to on time. And that's the sort of pickups that we have in this community, are people doing stuff like that. They're helping everybody along and making sure that it's not on one person. I think that that's hyper important, because if you're heaping that kind of shit on one person, they're going to burn out. And so that's part of the community growth, is everybody has agency. Everybody has an investment that is part of that backbone that you talk about.
Yep. Teague, great question. Thanks for being amazing.
Teague, great human. Thank you.
That's right. Top tier. Question number 3 is from Big Lou, and it's, following the discussion about the Emperor Young Hero card last week, I am curious how it'll play. More than likely it's my next Blitz deck, but I digress. The type line is definitely a word salad, and the ability on the card, I feel, nerfs it well in return. With this in mind, what other class combos, 3+, would you like to see in either an adult or young hero that follows this model? What abilities would you give it, and how would you modify the intellect or starting life?
So I like this question a lot, only because it further exposes how much of a not game designer I am. Like,
I was about to say the same thing.
You guys love this shit, man, where it's like, hey, what do you not know anything about? No, but it's a good question, because
it is. Yeah, you fucking idiots, try to fix this one.
Yeah, make a game. Yeah, go ahead and make a game. Yeah. No, this is a really cool question. I think we're not going to see another one of these for a while. In the release article for the Emperor, they talk about how, and I'll link this in the show notes if I remember. We're recording on Monday night this time, so maybe. There's a bit about how mere mortals cannot wield dual classes, and the only reason the Emperor can is because he's not just a mere mortal. And that makes me think that we are going to very rarely see this. There is a lot of balancing concerns when you do this. Like, and like Big Lou mentions, the hero type line is crazy. If they didn't have that, you could not play any red cards. You're looking at another Bravo or another Starvo. Right. So there is got maybe an intellect penalty. I think is really good. Like a la Datadol. I like that they did the wizard penalty because the Emperor is a wizard. But I don't know what I would do specifically, only because my answer would be do this very rarely and only when it makes sense in the story. And I think they have that story reason, and they kind of acknowledge, like, hey, this is kind of like a very rare thing we'll do for people that want to that want to do this kind of thing, but we can't make it too good because, like, we don't want the game to be this.
We'll get the blue line ice Runeblade illusionist just later, right? That's how this works. So
I think so.
That's where this winds up. Okay, cool. That's neat. because that's going to happen.
Neat. You can only include cards with blood debt or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it'll just be you can only play blue cards. Reasonable.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everybody loves a good blue that blocks for 3. Those cards are medium. Yeah,
they're medium. They're medium as fuck. And
Sift isn't the best card in my Viserai deck. Yeah.
Yeah, the only good part there is that Rosetta Thorn would likely be gone before that ever happened. But the bad part there is that they'd probably print something more busted than that.
Rosetta Thorn, yeah.
Yes.
Did you know about that part about the Emperor in the article?
The Mere Mortals part?
Yeah.
No, I don't listen to hip hop. That's a lie. I listen to a lot of hip hop.
I don't even know if I think that's true.
No, I listen to a ton of hip hop. No, I didn't. I read a little. Lore consumption for me happens in one large wave. So whenever I consume lore, it happens towards when there's most of a story released or most of the lore that is part of a set is released. Then I'll just start the mass consumption of all of it.
Sure.
So I just kind of skimmed a little bit because I'm like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Yeah, to be more clear for people that are lore heads, this is what it says on his hero page. More than exceptional is a requisite of any mortal with the desires to rule the volatile land of Volcor. The Emperor is no mere mortal, being the only known hero who can proficiently wield dual classes. And I think that because of that, this might be like the once in a once in Fab 2.0 type of deal. And I get why that makes some people sad, but as a person that likes the game is between the wickets, and I don't want to see it, jump the shark, as it were.
Yeah.
So
no, they did a good job of making sure that there's really no super obvious right now super abusable way for this character to get out of hand. But that doesn't mean that it won't.
That's right.
Eventually.
We will see. Who could be sure? Our Patreons. So shout out to our executive producers and up. We have May, Philip, Taylor, Ed, Josh, Kenny, Nick, Ricky, Teague, Ben, Corey, Alan, and Michael. There's so many. I love it. If you are interested in subscribing to our Patreon, it's patreon.com/fleshandpod. We have 4 tiers. If you go there, we'll have the link in the show notes. You can check it out. As always, you can find us on Twitter @FleshPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can shoot us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is @AbbyD83. As an update for everybody, I did find the link for the possum shirts. So 2 of them have been ordered. 2 of them I haven't heard back yet on, so fingers crossed. But love that. I also need to give a big shout out to Kevin Breyer. When I messaged Kevin for the shirt information, he responded back to me, and prior to the Pro Tour, he bought 2 possum shirts and wore them while he was playing. So Team
That's
Possum all the way. So huge shout
I think
out
he
to
actually
him.
did play against Dagan as well.
Yes.
While wearing
Yes.
a possum shirt.
Yep. So
that's
Kevin,
team
thank
kill.
you.
Team.
Love it. Yeah, don't love that, but love the enthusiasm with it. That's great. And also, possums are great. That's all I have.
Okay. You can find me at Logan Peterson on Twitter. It is football season, so there's going to be a lot of tweeting about football. But most of it's still flesh and blood at this point in time. And also, if you want to put me in your Twitter circle, I talk shit about Twitter circles from my point of view because I'm just going to remain unhinged. However, I do appreciate the ability to be more unhinged for those who are among the more staid of us and or thirsty. So if that's where you want me to be in your Twitter circle, that's totally fantastic. I will more than be happy to interact. If you don't want me to see how thirsty or unhinged you are, then don't put me in your Twitter circle. I'm going to remain unhinged. I'm not very thirsty in general, though.
I don't
go ahead.
even know how that works.
Neither do
I know I'm in them, but I
Yeah.
have no idea how people make them. I have no idea. That is too Twitter serious for me.
Yeah, I'm just gonna one of the most important parts of me on the internet is that there is no anonymity to what I do. My real name is on everything, because if I say something that is head-assed, I need to be held accountable, because otherwise I'll just keep being head-assed and fucking dumb. So call me out, because it's easy to do. And if I make Twitter circles, it becomes less easy to do. So I want to continue to be held accountable by the communities I belong to. That is it. That's all. That is not saying anything about anybody else's choices. That is just purely mine. You can also find me in the Discord. If you share a server with me, you can message me. You can friend me. You can do all the fun shit. And I respond on a pretty regular fucking basis, unless I'm driving 10 hours back from Columbus, Ohio.
Yay.
I had like 15 notifications. Like, go fuck yourself. What the hell? I guess that's what I get for driving. So, Jordan, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at I'm Jerman. Same thing as Logan, basically. Tweet a lot about Flesh and Blood right now, but also tweet a lot about sports and like some football season starting. So a lot of picks and bets are going to be going up on there. Tweeting a lot about like I'm getting really into this like productivity lifestyle and like time tracking and journaling, and tweeting a lot of that kind of stuff too. So there's a lot of like lot of stuff there. Formula One, it's kind of a vibe over there on my my Twitter. DM me on Discord. Those are probably the two best ways to get a hold of me. I have notifications for a lot of stuff off, only because I'm very distracted by my phone a lot of the time. So if I don't get back to you right away, it is purely just like I haven't seen it yet. So like, but I will, basically. But yeah, I would love to talk to people. I'm excited for Nats to get to meet more people, and live the dream. People will get to meet Papa Kennedy at Nats, actually.
That's not real.
Yeah. There's a long story about how my dad and I basically go to every major card tournament in Charlotte, North Carolina together. Back from when I just like needed money in college to go play Grand Prix, and he took me, and now we do it whenever there's one. But the Fab community will get to meet Papa Kennedy, and that guy knows nothing about our world, and it's been 15 years, Dad, so maybe get on board.
Will be a treat.
Yeah, sounds great.
I'll have to tell you the story sometime. I'll do it on air about how my dad like hustled some guy over Jace Vryn's Prodigy, knowing nothing about cards though, and it was insane. Like businessman Matt Kennedy came out of the woodwork.
I appreciate a good hustle.
Yeah, it wasn't even really a hustle. It was just the guy was trying to knock me a couple dollars off of a thing, and like my dad was like, you know what, we'll go over there to this other vendor who was going to give us $5 less, and the guy was like, wait, what? You're going to take less money? And the guy like was like, what? And my dad was like, yeah, I really would rather just like eat the $5 than do business with you. And the guy ended up giving us $10 over, and like it was great. It was insane. Yeah, the guy had moved because the guy knew he was like kind of trying to cut us out, and then it was great. It was the good. It was before like it was the olden times when like vendors didn't like
Origins level. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right. So different market than the one we exist in today. But that's it for me.
There we go. All right, that is all we have for this week. So we will talk to you next week. Bye.